Your 20s are the most misunderstood decade of your life. Most people treat it like a playground, like a warm-up lap, like some slow-paced tutorial before the real game begins. But that mindset is exactly why most people wake up at 30, 35, 40 wondering where their potential went. Your 20s aren't a decade of comfort, they're a decade of war. The battlefield is your mind, your habits, your distractions, and the version of yourself that keeps telling you to relax, slow down, take it easy because you're still young. That voice destroys more futures than failure ever will. The truth is simple. If you waste your 20s chasing comfort, you will spend your 30s and 40s chasing survival. This is the decade where your energy is the highest, your responsibilities are the lowest, and your potential is at its maximum. Yet most people choose the soft path, sleeping in, scrolling endlessly, partying every weekend, chasing validation instead of building themselves into someone who can command wealth. It's not that they can't win. It's that they don't want the discomfort that winning requires. You must flip that script. Your 20s are when you plant the seeds of the life you're going to live later. If you want to get rich young, if you want to build a life that most people only dream about, you have to treat every day like it matters, every hour like an investment, every habit like a weapon. This decade is about building the version of you that money respects. And make no mistake, money does respect people. It respects discipline. It respects skill. It respects those who grind when others sleep and learn when others waste time. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort whispers in your ear telling you that you can relax today and work tomorrow. Comfort tells you that you deserve a break even when you haven't earned one. Comfort tells you that everyone else is relaxing, so you should too. That voice wants to keep you normal, but remember this. Normal people do not become wealthy. Normal people do not break generational limitations. Normal people do not expand their potential. Your 20s require a different identity, an identity forged through pressure. This is where you learn sacrifice, something most people will run from their whole lives. While others spend money on nights out, you stack cash. While others spend hours scrolling, you spend hours building skills. While others complain about opportunities, you create them. While others chase validation, you chase mastery. The gap between who you are now and who you will become is built in these years. This decade is the foundation. If you pour concrete correctly, it holds up a skyscraper. If you pour it carelessly, everything collapses no matter how beautiful it looks on the surface. The habits you build now become the default settings of your life. If you train yourself to work hard now, it becomes natural later. If you train yourself to avoid discipline, then the rest of your life becomes a cycle of regret, excuses, and survival. You have to be willing to be alone. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to say no to things everyone else says yes to. Greatness doesn't come from blending in, it comes from breaking away. Most people are too scared to separate from the crowd, but wealth is not found in crowds. It is found in the lonely hours of discipline, repetition, and self-mastery. Your 20s are not the time to be soft. They are the time to sharpen your edges, to learn who you are under pressure, to build the discipline that will pay you for the rest of your life. When you treat your 20s like war, your 30s and 40s become a peace that most people will never experience. People spend their entire lives chasing money, and that's exactly why they never catch it. Money isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming a certain kind of person. The world doesn't reward wishful thinking, inspirational quotes, or empty ambition. It rewards discipline, it rewards grit, it rewards value. Money flows to the people who build themselves into someone capable of earning it, keeping it, and multiplying it. Most people don't understand this. They believe wealth is luck, timing, or being born into the right situation. They want shortcuts, hacks, and overnight results. But success doesn't come from tricks, it comes from transformation. When you level up your mind, your habits, your discipline, and your skill set, money has no choice but to follow. It becomes a side effect of who you've become, not the goal you're desperately chasing. If you want to get rich in your 20s, you must stop asking, "How do I make more money?" and start asking, "How do I become the person who deserves more money?" That shift changes everything. It forces you to confront your weaknesses instead of hiding them. It forces you to develop skills instead of clinging to excuses. It forces you to face the truth. The person you are today is producing the income you're earning today. If you want more, you must become more. Money respects one thing: value, and value comes from skills that solve problems, skills that others are too distracted or too lazy to learn. It comes from mastery, it comes from consistency, it comes from showing up when you don't feel like showing up. You can pretend you're working hard, but money exposes the truth. Money always reveals who focused, who sacrificed, who studied, who evolved, and who stayed the same. The harsh reality is that most people never become wealthy because they never improve themselves. They want $1 million lifestyle with minimum wage discipline. They want the rewards without the transformation. They want the outcome without the identity, but wealth never works that way. Money magnifies who you are, so if you are undisciplined, emotional, impulsive, or lazy, money will slip through your fingers every time you get close to it. Your 20s are the perfect time to reinvent yourself. You're young enough to learn fast and old enough to take responsibility. You have energy others would kill for. You have time others wish they still had. But what you do with that time decides everything. Will you build yourself into someone powerful and capable, or will you stay stuck in the same patterns that everyone else around you follows? Read books that sharpen your mind, build skills that the market values. Surround yourself with people who challenge your standards, build discipline like your life depends on it. Master your emotions so you stop acting on impulse and start acting on strategy. Every little improvement stacks. Every new skill compounds. Every day of discipline strengthens your identity. You don't become a you person overnight, but every day you choose growth over comfort. You move closer to becoming someone money is drawn to. When you develop rare skills, opportunities appear. When you develop discipline, consistency becomes natural. When you develop confidence through competence, you stop fearing failure and start dominating challenges. That's when your income begins to rise, not because you chased money, but because you built yourself into someone money wants to follow. The world pays you based on the problems you can solve, the value you bring, and the person you become. So focus less on chasing wealth and more on shaping the version of you that can create it. Build yourself first and wealth becomes inevitable. Your environment is not neutral. The people around you are not neutral. The conversations you have, the energy you're surrounded by, the standards your circle lives by, all of it is either pushing you forward or pulling you down. There is no middle ground. Your circle is either fuel or poison, and if you don't get serious about who you allow into your life, you will sabotage your own potential before you even realize it. Most people never become wealthy, not because they lack intelligence or talent, but because they choke in a toxic environment. They choose comfort friendships over growth friendships. They stay around people who don't challenge them, people who complain about everything, people who fear success, people who waste time like it's unlimited. But the truth is simple. You become what you're around. Sit in a room full of complainers and you'll find yourself complaining. Sit in a room full of broke mindsets and you'll start thinking like them. Sit around people who live weekend to weekend and you'll end up doing the same thing. Your 20s are the decade where environment matters the most. You're building identity, shaping habits, forming beliefs about what's possible. If you surround yourself with people who aim low, you'll shrink your goals without even noticing. If you surround yourself with people who avoid discipline, you'll justify your own laziness. If you surround yourself with people who fear failure, you'll stop taking risks. The wrong circle doesn't just slow you down, it rewires your mind into mediocrity. You need to audit your circle with brutal honesty. Look at the people closest to you and ask yourself one question: do these people bring me closer to the person I want to become, or do they pull me further away? If someone drains your energy, clouds your ambition, or distracts you from your purpose, that person is poison, and poison doesn't kill you instantly, it kills you slowly. Every wasted night out, every empty conversation, every moment spent around people with no fire in their soul is a dose that pushes you further from your goals. You don't need cheerleaders. You don't need people who tell you what you want to hear. You need people who force you to level up, people who hold you accountable, people who don't tolerate excuses, people who would rather work on themselves than gossip about others, people who chase goals, not distractions. People who are hungry, disciplined, and relentless. Iron sharpens iron, but only if you're surrounded by iron. And listen carefully. Choosing a better circle doesn't always mean adding new people. Sometimes the biggest growth comes from cutting people off. Distance reveals loyalty. When you start improving your life, some people won't clap. They'll get uncomfortable, jealous, threatened. Your growth exposes their stagnation, and instead of leveling up with you, they'll try to pull you back down because they don't want to lose you to success. These are the people you must walk away from, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Your future is too important to cloud with the wrong voices. If you want to be wealthy, you need to surround yourself with people who think differently, people who talk about goals, investments, discipline, learning, improvement, not drama, trends, and distractions. If you don't have these people yet, become one yourself. When you elevate your standards, you attract others who live at that level. Your circle is a mirror of your future. Stand in the wrong circle, and you'll stay trapped in small thinking, small habits, and small results. Stand in the right circle, and your potential ignites. Choose wisely, because this choice determines everything: your mindset, your habits, your income, and the life you end up living. Motivation is a spark. Obsession is the fire that never goes out. Motivation feels good. It pumps you up for a few minutes, maybe a few days, and then disappears the moment life gets uncomfortable. But obsession rewires your entire existence. Obsession doesn't care about your feelings, your comfort, or your excuses. Obsession is what keeps you grinding when you're tired, studying when you're bored, building when you're uninspired, and pushing when everyone else has quit. Most people rely on motivation, and that's why they never become wealthy. They wait until they feel like it. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect day, the perfect alignment of inspiration. They treat success like a hobby, not a duty. But wealth does not reward part-timers. Wealth rewards people who show up every single day, regardless of mood, regardless of emotion, regardless of circumstances. You cannot get rich treating your dreams like something optional. You need to become obsessed with your goals, obsessed with improving yourself, obsessed with building something real while everyone else is sleeping, relaxing, or numbing themselves with distractions that produce nothing. Obsession means you stop negotiating with yourself. It means you stop asking, "Do I feel like working today?" and instead ask, "What needs to get done?" It means you don't wait for inspiration, you create momentum. You build habits so strong that your discipline becomes automatic. You stop responding to your emotions and start responding to your mission. When you become obsessed, your mind changes. You don't see obstacles anymore, you see problems to solve. You don't fear failure, you fear stagnation. You don't look at the clock, you look at results. The average person works until they're tired. The obsessed person works until it's done. In your 20s, obsession is your greatest advantage. Everyone else is distracted. Everyone else is waiting. Everyone else is wasting time pretending they're young forever. People in their 20s have an insane amount of energy, but most use it for parties, gossip, trends, scrolling, and comfort. A few use it to build empires. The difference isn't talent, it's obsession. When you're obsessed, you stop caring about what people think. You stop trying to fit in. You stop trying to impress people who aren't even impressing themselves. You start prioritizing progress over popularity. Most people will never understand this because they're addicted to comfort. They'll look at your dedication and call it extreme, call it unhealthy, call it crazy. But what they call crazy now, they'll call success later. Wealth requires intensity, not casual effort, not "I'll try," not "I'm working on it." You need laser focus. You need tunnel vision. You need to be so committed to your goals that quitting isn't even an option. When you build this level of obsession, you start learning faster, building faster, evolving faster. You outgrow people, you outgrow habits, you outgrow excuses, and eventually you outgrow your old life. Motivation is temporary, obsession is permanent. Motivation fades, obsession compounds. Motivation gets you started, obsession keeps you unstoppable. The truth is this: the gap between you and the person living your dream life isn't intelligence or luck or background. It's obsession. It's the willingness to sacrifice weekends, cut off distractions, study what others won't, and build when others sleep. Wealth doesn't come to the inspired, it comes to the relentless. If you want to get rich in your 20s, stop chasing motivation. Build obsession. Let your goals consume you. Let your actions prove your hunger. Let your work ethic separate you from the crowd. Because when obsession takes over, success stops being a possibility, it becomes inevitable. Most people don't understand what sacrifice really means. They hear the word and instantly think it's something negative, something painful, something to avoid. But the truth is this: life will demand a payment from you no matter what. You either sacrifice early or you suffer later. There is no third option. There is no shortcut. There is no loophole. If you don't pay the price in your 20s, life will charge you double in your 30s and triple in your 40s. People think they're choosing comfort when they skip the work, when they skip the grind, when they choose partying over discipline and laziness over effort, but they're not choosing comfort, they're choosing delayed pain. And delayed pain hits harder because it shows up at the exact moment when you have fewer options, fewer chances, fewer years left to rebuild. Your 20s are the time to sacrifice when you still have raw energy. When you can fail and recover, when you can start from zero again and it won't break you. But most people waste this decade like it's nothing. They chase fun instead of purpose. They chase validation instead of skills. They chase the kind of comfort that destroys their future. They play the game like they have unlimited time when they don't. Sacrifice means doing what others refuse to do. It means being the one who stays home studying while your friends go out. It means being the one who wakes up early while everyone else sleeps in. It means being the one who works 2 jobs, learns new skills at night, invests instead of spends, builds instead of wastes. Sacrifice is choosing temporary discomfort so you can build permanent freedom. If you want wealth, you have to be willing to say no. No to distractions. No to toxic people. No to anything that pulls you away from the life you're trying to create. And saying no is hard at first. It feels lonely, it feels unfamiliar, but so does every decision that leads to greatness. People fear sacrifice because they think they're missing out. What they don't realize is that the real missing out happens later, when they're older, stuck, limited, and surrounded by regrets they can't undo. Your 20s will test you. They will try to lure you into easy paths, quick pleasures, and instant rewards, but instant rewards always lead to long-term suffering. The nights out, the fast money, the temporary highs, they all fade, and what's left is the reality you built when no one was watching. Every choice you make in your 20s is a seed. Some plant freedom, some plant regret, and once they grow, you can't unplant them. Sacrifice is not punishment, it's preparation. It's sharpening your mind, toughening your spirit, building your tolerance for pressure. It's learning how to work through boredom, fatigue, and doubt. It's proving to yourself that you can trust your own discipline, because wealth requires internal strength long before you ever see external success. Think about the people you admire, the ones who became something, built something, created something. Every one of them sacrificed. They gave up comfort, they gave up distractions, they gave up the easy life when they were young so they could own their life when they were older. Focus is a sacrifice. Discipline is a sacrifice. Growth is a sacrifice. But suffering in your 40s because you wasted your 20s, that is a far greater sacrifice, and it takes everything from you. The world will give you 2 choices: pay the price now or pay the price later. One price is discipline, the other is regret. Sacrifice now, and you carve out a future most people will never touch. Refuse to sacrifice, and you join the crowd of people who spend decades wishing they could go back and redo the years you're living through right now. In the end, everything comes down to this. Your 20s are the decade that will decide whether you build a life you're proud of or a life you spend years trying to escape from. These years are your advantage, your energy, your time, your hunger, your ability to fail fast and recover faster. But none of it matters if you waste it. None of it matters if you choose comfort over growth, distraction over discipline, or excuses over action. You've heard the truth. Your 20s are a battleground. They're the years to build discipline, not comfort. They're the years to become the kind of person money is drawn to, not the kind of person who chases it in desperation. They're the years to protect your circle like your future depends on it, because it does. They're the years to build obsession so intense that motivation becomes irrelevant. They're the years to sacrifice everything that slows you down so you never have to suffer for it later. Most people won't do this. Most people won't commit. Most people won't grind. Most people won't build themselves into anything more than a slightly improved version of their past, and that's exactly why most people never touch real success. They want wealth without the war, rewards without the grind, comfort without consequences, but you're not most people. If you were, you wouldn't still be here reading this. You wouldn't be chasing growth with this level of intensity. You wouldn't be looking for the truth, the raw truth that most run from. Your future is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for action. It's waiting for you to wake up with purpose, cut out the noise, and go all in on yourself. It's waiting for you to build discipline like armor, skills like weapons, and a mindset so sharp that nothing can dull it. Success in your 20s isn't about luck. It isn't about timing. It isn't about being born into the right family or handed the right opportunities. It's about becoming the kind of person who creates opportunities, the kind of person who shapes their own path, the kind of person who refuses to settle for average, refuses to slow down, refuses to dim their ambition to fit in with people who aren't going anywhere. This decade is your launchpad, your transformation, your foundation. What you do now echoes for the rest of your life. So choose the path few are willing to walk. Choose discipline, choose growth, choose obsession. Choose sacrifice. Choose to build a version of yourself that your older self will look back at and say, "You saved my life." Your 20s are not the warm-up. They are the moment, the starting line, the fire that forges who you'll become. Go all in, because the future belongs to those who refuse to waste the present.